Hey, how's it going? Adrienne Elise here. I just thought I would pop in and talk to you about the planets and the stars. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for February 26th through March 1st. So, Venus is on center stage right now. Venus has had an epic couple of weeks here as it's come into a conjunction with Saturn in Capricorn. It's come into a conjunction with Pluto. This is coming off now, and now it's coming into a square with Uranus. And so Venus is weighing in on this process that we're in of trying to get into the new age. And it's like I'm seeing this picture of like trying to break down the door, trying to push our way through, and the goddess comes along with her magical password, or something like that. Because not only is Venus highlighting this Pluto-Uranus square, which started back in 2011, and it has to do with the radical change in structures of our reality that need to happen, and the structures of ourself and our identity in order to move into the Aquarian Age, into the next chapter. But now, so Venus is triggering that Pluto-Uranus square, and it is also sextiling Mercury that is in retrograde shadow right now, okay, like in Pisces, about the past age, right? But sextiles have an energy of like creative, magical solutions. So it's like, yeah, the goddess has the key, but the goddess, the feminine in all of us, is still stuck in the dark ages. And that has to do with the fact that the feminine part of all of us, right? So in the positive aspects of the feminine, healing, compassion, nurturing, empathy, intuition, creativity, these things have very little value in our world. And this is all coming up right now because the North Node is in Cancer, and we're looking at the North Node as our future karma. Like, how are we going to get to where we're going? And so this Venus activation right now is so potent. There's so many messages, but the feelings that we're having individually is our deepest vulnerabilities and our deepest sensitivities coming up, because this is the wounded feminine in all of us. And we have to, it's an opportunity to find this, because this is deeply hidden in our subconscious. This is lifetime. So in the Piscean age, the feminine, so the feminine is extremely disempowered, and the feminine was called the witch and the whore. And, really it represents like healing and true energetic power, right? We've talked about how the female kind of electricity in the universe is everywhere. It's free energy. We already have this technology, but we're not allowed to have it. And so in a way, this Venus is knocking on the door of this new reality and saying, hey, you guys, good luck trying to get anywhere without me, right? And so this sextile with Mercury is kind of bringing an opportunity to examine this low self-worth, small, hiding, persecuted part of all of us, and saying that we can't go forward, right, without empowering the feminine. And these gifts of healing and nurturing, compassion are so the most valuable, right? We are humans, and the human condition has this energy around it, like where, a mammal, a horse, say, is born and it can land on its feet. It knows just what to do. It's got instinctual knowledge, and it can go and find, with its mother and feed on its mother and take care of itself on some level. Humans cannot. Humans are completely helpless for like 9 months out of the womb. And so how are we going to have an empowered humanity if we don't have empowered nurturers or nurturing, right? And healing and nurturing and compassion, that makes our world a better place. But the control energies that have been shaping our world and using our programming and fear to control us and to hold back humanity's evolution. That's a really good way to hold back humanity, is to devalue and disgrace and shame the part of ourselves that makes us whole and complete and able to function, right? So when Venus is making all these transits right now this week, it's like she's pounding at the door of this new paradigm. She's bringing up all of our deepest insecurities, and she's bringing to light the reality check that we do not get to move forward, humanity, without more nurturing and compassion and a valuing of this, right? And so not only is Venus square with Uranus and sextile Mercury right now, it's also conjunct the South Node, which means, of course, opposite the North Node. And that North Node in Cancer, and Venus is hanging out by that South Node in Capricorn. And it's like, okay, so the South Node of the moon is what's holding us back, right? The North Node's our future karma. How are we going to get there? The South Node is like, what's holding you back? What's dragging on you from behind? What needs to be adjusted? And this is the justice that we have not seen in the feminine. The feminine from the Piscean age, and this is in all of us. It's not just women. We've all incarnated as men and women. We have male and female within us. And, our healthy world, our evolution, our spiritual evolution has to do with the balancing of the male and female within us, moving our consciousness from the split hemispheres of the brain and duality into the oneness consciousness of the heart. And that's exactly what needs to happen on the planet for our spiritual evolution. And so we have to pick up this disempowered feminine off of the ground and allow her to heal and find her power and take her power back. And so at the end degrees of Capricorn, squaring up with Uranus, it's like, so Uranus is having its last week in Aries, right? For like another 84 years or whatever. And so we are feeling this energy of the revolution that needs to take place in the sense of self. It's interesting that Venus then is bringing up all these insecurities and vulnerabilities. And it's powerful to see actually that, like, we see these as our weaknesses. We feel weak, but what part of ourselves really feels weak when we feel vulnerable? Our ego, our false sense of self. And Uranus and Aries has been about breaking down our false sense of self and coming into who we really are. And this has to do with this balancing of the male and the female and our vulnerability, like the work of Brené Brown, if you're familiar with that at all. She talks about her research, which has led her to this concept and this proof that our greatest strength is actually our vulnerability and our ability to have compassion and empathy for the other person. This is what opens us up to experiences. This is what makes us whole human beings. And this is actually the source of joy and happiness. And so Uranus is the revolutionary planet. So Venus in square to Uranus just after this, incredible conjunction with Pluto, sandwiched around that powerful full moon in Virgo. It's like we've got to clean up the feminine, and we're getting a lot of messages on how to do that right now. We're also being shown in our individual life all of our deepest fears and insecurities and vulnerabilities so that we can find them. Are those based on truth? Or is that based on programming? This is always the way it is, right? And so Venus conjunct the South Node is saying, yeah, we got to change the programming. That's holding us back. The injustice to the feminine, that the healers of this world that want to make this world a better place, that come in service, the light worker souls that come in service again and again, incarnation after incarnation. And what happens to them? They're burned at the stake. Okay. And all true healing is attempting to be eradicated, by Western medicine and the pharmaceutical companies. And, it used to be that the military industrial complex was the biggest per capita, or, money maker. And now it's a pharmaceutical industry, and big pharma rules our world, and big pharma has very little actual healing. Like probably none, and actual compassion and actual sensitivity and empathy. It's more like poison, and it's more like, oh yeah, sure, here's some healing, but it's actually going to make you sicker. And where's the nurturing in that? And our evolution cannot go further on this path, and that's why the Venus is going, is kind of the message of these transits right now, all at one time, squaring Uranus and still close to Pluto. So it's like coming just in between these planets, conjunct the South Node, our past karma. We cannot move forward without this adjustment, and in sextile to Mercury and Pisces, speaking to the past age when a lot of this persecution and degradation of the feminine took place. And so we are there at the crossroads, and it's the goddess in all of us, this part of ourselves that can be vulnerable, can choose a better world with all of the messages out there that say that's impossible. We're going down the tube, there's big pharma is going to win, and the lies are going to win, and the control energies are going to win, and the toxicity of our world's going to win. Go ahead, just spray poison all over our planet. We that's fine. Just don't take away our cell phones, right? It's just like, this is the place we are at, and there is no future for humanity until we can clean up the feminine within all of us and take our power back. And for us, each of us individually, it really comes down to the power of valuing who you really are and the true of you in the feminine part, picking that part of yourself up and knowing that, tapping into this goddess of this energy of the divine feminine, and knowing that you're here and you've always been here to help create a better world. And all the patriarchal forces are going to work against that, but you are still here, and you are conscious, and you are powerful. And so the gift that's coming from this, going into these sensitivities and vulnerabilities, is this resolve into who you really are as a human, and as a compassionate soul, and as a healer, and this desire and the gift that you bring for this better world. And the energies say, well, that doesn't matter. That's not possible. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't have value. What are you going to do for money? And it's like, right now in your consciousness, the most valuable thing you can do is just go into these sensitivities, find the power in your vulnerability, and know that you are here to hold the ideal of this better world. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. You can come down to this one core thing, and the goddess Venus is saying, hey, wake up world, we've got to do this. And we can either roll over now and just become robots and controlled and lose our individual souls and become extinct, or we can allow the goddess to lead the way into the future. Now we're going to start feeling in a couple of weeks this Pallas Athene asteroid goddess coming into square with the nodes of the moon. And so that's a really great message for us, because Pallas Athene is about negotiation and about diplomacy. And so the feminine arts of negotiation, diplomacy, are the way into the future and out of the past. And so hang in there with what's happening right now. We're in this huge process, planetary shifting. It's happening, everything that we've talked about happening. That's why stuff's so weird. And the most beautiful and important and empowering thing you can do is to hold that ideal, validate that part of yourself that has come again and again, lifetime after lifetime, and make this world a better place, because we are going to do it. And it's happening already energetically. And there's going to be a lot of stuff that needs to be broken down. And that's starting to occur right now. But the most powerful thing that we can do individually is to face these vulnerabilities, claim our our power on this level, feminine power, nurture ourselves, right? So we're living in this world that does not value nurturing, and yet we cannot be whole and complete without it. We cannot survive without it. And so nurture yourself, value yourself, and hold the ideal of your life, for your life, the ideal for every situation, and the ideal for this planetary evolution. And that is just a revolutionary act in the name of the goddess within all of us. So thank you so much for showing up and doing the work. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.